I'm William Kumwembe and I welcome you to yet another edition of the program Business Time right here on Times Television. This is a magazine program in which we look at some of the major business stories happening in Malawi and beyond. Coming up in the program today, MCC VP jets in to discuss second compact, and TCC pleads with firms to buy more tobacco from Malawi. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned if you could.
Now you can access the Daily Times, Malawi News and the Sunday Times newspapers anytime, anywhere, by the click of a mouse or a swipe on your smartphone. With eTimes, right on your mobile gadget. Flip through the pages with a swipe or a click. Navigate through all pages and see clear pictures and designs. Access a database of previous papers of the Daily Times, Malawi News and the Sunday Times. Easy. Subscribe now to eTimes. Go to www.times.mw/e-edition. Sign up and log in. Enter your password and enjoy the newspaper. It's about time.
In our first story today, representatives from the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, are in the country to discuss the development of a new compact aimed at enhancing economic growth and spur private sector investments in the country. This follows a decision by the firm in December 2018 to provide Malawi with a 5-year grant program for putting up a strong performance on MCC's scorecard, which focuses on good governance and curbing corruption, among others. The Vice President of the MCC said development of the new compact will take at least 2 to 3 years before the country will receive the first chunk of the grant. We have the detail in this report.
We're very happy to congratulate the government of Malawi on being selected to develop a second compact. This process will unfold over the next few months, and it will begin with a study of the binding constraints to economic growth here in Malawi. In other words, what is holding back economic growth here in Malawi and what will spur private investment? So over the coming weeks, starting with next week, MCC is sending a technical team here to Malawi to consult with relevant members of the government and with the national coordinator. We're grateful to the government of Malawi for having appointed a national coordinator, Daima Window. There will be a study. A lot of data will be generated, and together we will follow the data. And then after that, there will be feasibility studies, and a process will take place to determine what are the most promising sectors and most promising projects to spur economic growth here in Malawi. We have seen a high degree of commitment from the government of Malawi and the other participants, so we very much look forward to maintaining that level of commitment and also to consulting with all stakeholders across the spectrum in the private sector and civil society and in all other relevant areas of society here in Malawi to work toward this process of coming up with suitable project proposals. The message MCC is taking to President Mutharika is first to congratulate him and to congratulate our partners in the government of Malawi on the good job that they have done in meeting the scorecard and achieving selection for a second compact. We're very proud of our investments under the first compact, and we are very pleased that we will have the opportunity to work with the government of Malawi toward developing a second compact. Malawi is doing very well on the scorecard in many areas. Malawi's score is quite high, and we are very pleased for that. We will continue to monitor the scorecard, as we do for all of our country partners, during the compact development process. So all of the aspects that we look at as far as continuing the opportunities for economic growth, investing in its people, continuing good governance, adequately controlling corruption, all of those factors will continue to be important as we move forward in the development of a second compact.
Emotions dominated Ilovo Sugar Malawi annual general meeting in Blantyre on Wednesday as minority shareholders protested the company's decision to continue denying them dividends. The company has said it arrived at this decision due to ongoing cash flow constraints that has resulted from debt payments and poor weather conditions which have affected production. We have the detail in this report.
Ilovo Sugar Malawi has said it arrived at this decision due to ongoing cash flow constraints that have resulted from debt payments and poor weather conditions which has affected production. One of the minority shareholders, Frank Harawa, said during the last annual general meeting, the shareholders proposed that they come together and raise capital to pay off debts, but that proposal did not pass.
I think the minority shareholders are not happy with the progress of Ilovo. Mainly, the contentious issue is the issue of dividend payout. Ilovo came to the stock market to seek for capital, and Malawians came and bought shares in Ilovo. Now, Ilovo was going to borrow money from other institutions, and Ilovo is paying its interest to those institutions, and for 4 years now, they can't pay a dividend. And the second part of it again is that those payments, huge sums, are going to foreign company, and we are really concerned about this development. And if you were in the AGM today, you could see that they said it will take some years before they even pay a dividend, and that's a concerning matter. And even we are concerned because even the atmosphere of the AGM today, you could tell that the possibilities of the share price going down are very high. In the last year's AGM, we had proposed to Ilovo that there was a need for a rights issue where we would have raised capital, pay off the debt, and then the interest that they are paying now, will be the money is coming to the shareholders as dividends. But instead, what they have done is they have settled the debt with the debt.
Responding on the matter, Managing Director of Ilovo Sugar Malawi, Mark Benbridge, assured the shareholders that Ilovo is doing everything possible to minimize debts and increase free cash flows so that payments of dividends is possible in the near future. The minority shareholders, however, are discontented, especially after the company raised remuneration for directors to $3,150,000 per annum and the sitting allowance of non-executive directors to 150,000 kwacha for each committee or board meeting attended. Among other issues that were raised at the annual general meeting was a question of conflict of interest among the board of directors, which comprised the CEO of Ilovo Sugar Group as chairman of the board as well as the financial director of the mother company. The minority shareholders are concerned that the board might not be able to balance the interests of the shareholders with the interests of the company's management. The minority shareholders also lamented over unequal treatment which has seen them deprived of information. This arises as the directors refused to make public the terms of a settlement which saw a case between Ilovo Sugar Malawi and one minority shareholder, Mr. R. Savjan, withdrawn from court. Mr. Savjan was appointed and later approved through vote as a director of Ilovo Sugar Malawi, which the shareholders believed to be a form of appeasement. The annual general meeting, which was expected to last few hours, dragged on until late in the evening due to the continuous contentions between the board of directors and minority shareholders.
One of the country's commercial banks, FDH Bank, bounced back to profitability in 2018 when it posted an after-tax profit of 5.96 billion kwacha from a loss after tax of 1 billion kwacha in 2017. In a statement on Thursday, the bank says total income grew by 37% from 21.2 billion kwacha in 2017 to 29 billion kwacha in 2018. Eric Watara is FDH Bank Managing Director and explains the performance of the bank to our reporter Taonga Sabola.
2018 has been an interesting year. I think it's almost 3 years now after emerging, and FDH Bank has started a journey to become a digital bank, and for us this is most important. So now the bank relies less on interest income and more on non-interest income, and for us this is the most important. I think this journey also it's coupled and associated with the willingness of the government to have, I think, the majority of the population of Malawi to be involved. issue of financial inclusion. And I think we want to be a key stakeholder in this journey, and for us it's the most important. So we are start seeing the fruit of this journey, and for us this is the most important. What explained is for the last 2 years we have been seriously developed our digital platform. We are developing our digital platform, and this mobile and digital platform is for us a key and a strategic tool to be able, I think, to grow the bank. I think we continue to grow on brick and mortars. We continue to expand our network. We have the widest network in the financial industry, and we, on top of this, want to increase the channels to serve our customers. And that's why we have gone mobile, we have gone digital, and for us this is a key explanation of this interesting figure. But we consider it's not enough. We consider we have to do a lot more, and we consider it is possible, it is doable in Malawi to do it. And this is our commitment. Definitely for us, it's an election year. It's a fact. We have to include it in our strategy and in our decision, and we have to move forward with it. We expect, I think, after 21st May 2019, Malawi to move forward. So we are managing the election, climate, and the impact of the business, and at the same time we continue to move forward. And for us, this is the most important. We have election, we manage election, and we move forward. And this is what MDH is doing. So we are moving forward, and we expect a better year in 2019 than what you have achieved in 2018. A lot more in terms of product, a lot more in terms of customer engagement, a lot more in terms of innovation and digital.
Remember, this is Business Time right here on Times Television. It is a magazine program where we'll bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines. We'll be right back.
Now you can access the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times newspapers anytime, anywhere, by the click of a mouse or a swipe on your smartphone. With eTimes, right on your mobile gadget. Flip through the pages with a swipe or a click. Navigate through all pages and see clear pictures and designs. Access a database of previous papers of the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times. Easy. Subscribe now to eTimes. Go to www.times.mw/e-edition. Sign up and log in. Enter your password and enjoy the newspaper. It's about time.
Welcome back. The Minister of Industry and Trade has said local cement producers need to provide assurance to government that they can supply enough cement to the country. Development follows an outcry from local producers who have bemoaned the shrinking of the market due to an influx of cheap imports. Secretary for Industry, Trade and Tourism Ken Ndala said government would like to avoid the 2016 situation where the country faced an acute shortage of cement. He explains in this interview.
The issue about cement, it is the issue that needs to be regulated well. You remember that there was a time when we actually had some scarcity of cement in the country. And as government, the government actually made a decision to actually issue quite a number of importation licenses, just to make sure that I think the demand and the supply actually balances on the market. I would say that right now, if you go on the market, you see that we do have quite cement is actually available. As government, we are now taking some measures just to make sure that we also have to be able to regulate it. We have issued quite a number of permits or importation licenses, but we definitely have to be able to manage and see how we are going to be able to regulate. This is also going to be able to help the producers of cement. We have had several meetings with them, and currently we're actually discussing about in terms of them being able to produce. You know, we have 3 companies that are producing cement in the country. That the demand that we do have, they have to assure us that they're going to be able to meet the demand. Because at times, it's like they're not actually meeting the demand. And we don't want to reach at a point where cement is also scarce in the country. But right now, they're actually assuring us that they're going to be able to produce. You also need to know that the cement companies, their role is to produce cement. It's not to sell cement. So us as government, we actually want them to be able to produce cement, not actually to import cement. And I think this is what the government is actually doing, but we'll definitely be able to regulate. The issue about dumping, we know that the laws are there. But for us to effectively apply that, there is need for us to collect more information before we make that decision. And as government, we are doing it. And I think you'll be able to see, I think, the outcome soon.
Business journalists in the country have been urged to exercise prudence and value professionalism when reporting on trends in the petroleum industry. Consumers Association of Malawi KAMA Executive Director John Capito made the call on Thursday in Mangochi District at the end of a two-day training workshop on fuel pricing and petroleum mechanism. Capito called on the journalists to follow global market trends and invest towards acquiring knowledge about the industry.
The media has been doing some remarkable work regarding how fuel prices are done in Malawi and communicating with the public. But they have also been making sure that I think they are collecting the views and interest of those consumers that are affected when fuel prices go up. And what we were trying to do today was now to see how best then we can we can improve our communication with the public when fuel prices have been increased, but also when fuel prices have been reduced. But also to make sure that I think we all understand what are the triggers that make fuel prices go up and come down, or what makes the fuel prices to be reduced. So it was a meeting where we were sharing experiences and the challenges that are involved that limit also the media to be able to communicate effectively with the public, especially when the system has fallen down to a point where it cannot release quick information to the public and to the media. So it was a meeting where I think we were educating each other and encouraging each other to continue doing the work and to make sure that I think the issues of petroleum pricing are handled in a manner that does not create panic among its consumers, but also that the information is able to assist consumers to begin to appreciate that information and be able to use it effectively.
Now, the Economics Association of Malawi, ECAMA, has said commercial banks should come up with innovative financial products that would attract more customers and ensure their survival in the current low interest rate regime. ECAMA Executive Director Maleka Tula has further urged banks to enhance their assessment of creditworthiness of the borrowers to avoid bad loans and defaults. We have the detail in this report.
ECAMA Executive Director Maleka Tula urged banks to enhance their assessment of creditworthiness of the borrowers to avoid bad loans or defaults. In January, the Reserve Bank of Malawi cut the policy rate by 1.5% to 14.5%, reduced the Lombard rate from 200 basis points to 40 basis points above policy rate to stand at 14.9%, claiming that most risks to inflation that hit the economy in 2018 were dissipating and that the outlook for 2019 was positive. Following the development, commercial banks reduced lending interest rates, which are hovering between 20 and 26%. The banks have argued that despite having the number of people who can access loans increased with the reduced interest rates, the risk on such loans remains high, which poses a threat to their businesses. Tula said banks should develop products that speak to the current situation, adding that there should be deliberate policy interventions by authorities to support productive sectors such as agriculture and manufacturing.
If we look at the way policy rate has been set at 14.5 and the interest rates that banks are supposed to charge with the borrowers, I think it will go a long way for the banks to adapt, because we know that there are a number of factors that influence the economy and, of course, the creditworthiness of borrowers. So what we would encourage banks now is to continue with their stringent measures in terms of assessing the creditworthiness of borrowers. But we are confident that with the way the economy is performing going forward, if the economy continues to perform favorably, grow, it means that the borrowers will have more ability to repay their loans. They are meaning that their disposable incomes will increase as the economy grows and it's sustained. That therefore takes us to the point that consumers will be willing and will also be able to pay back the loans. So if they are able to pay back the loans, the economy is growing. It means automatically even interest rates will also continue going down, and the risk on part of borrowers will also have been minimized. So maybe in the meantime, this is a transitory period or transitional period, which we have to be patient, both from the borrowers as well as the banks. And also maybe as banks, because they are the gurus or the captains in the business, going forward, maybe they should be able to come up with products that are going to minimize risk on their part and also while supporting the economy to grow.
This is coming at a time Parliament is advocating for the establishment of interest capping laws in the country. From Lilongwe, I am Chimwemwe Mangazi.
Proceeding with the program, let us now have a look at how the Malawi kwacha is faring against major trading currencies on the foreign exchange market. The Tobacco Control Commission has said it is engaging tobacco buying companies to consider increasing their planned quota for this year's marketing season. This follows revelations that buyers are looking for 152 million kilograms of the green gold this year against the first round top tobacco estimate of 166.8 million kilograms. We have the detail in this.
This follows the revelations that buyers are looking for 152 million kilograms of the green gold this year against a first-round tobacco estimate of 166.8 million kilograms. Last year, the buyers bought 202 million kilograms of tobacco against a planned 171 million kilograms. TCC Chief Executive Officer Kaisi Sadala said the lobbying is one of the strategies they are employing to have all the tobacco that will be produced sold at the market.
Well, you will recall that last year we were able to attract one more buyer in the name of Watergen Africa Limited from Ukraine. The buyer, because it was the first year, he bought very little. This year the buyer has come, will come with a bang. He's buying a lot of tobacco, but still he will buy it through a third party. We are also making efforts, as I indicated, with government to attract other buyers as well, new buyers to the market, and we are optimistic that by the end of the buying season, we will be able to have attracted others. But one other strategy that we have done is we have approached the existing buyers to consider increasing their uptake of the tobacco this year, despite their reduced levels that they showed us. And there's a willingness and commitment from most of them. So we have got no doubt that the market will be smooth. Threats and challenges are always there. The biggest challenge probably to the growers is they should not entertain intermediate buyers, because the intermediate buyers will go there, buy their tobacco cheaply, and they will come to the auction and sell it at higher prices. So the grower will be, used. So it's good. The other thing is also, as we say, this is a time when farmers are now reaping their tobacco in preparation for the marketing season. So we want to urge farmers to make sure that they take care of their tobacco so that it is in good quality, so that it can fetch better prices at the market. In the interim, we want to mention that government is currently working on the minimum prices, and once those minimum prices have been approved, we will advise the public.
Tobacco is Malawi's major foreign exchange earner and export. From Lilongwe, I am Chimwemwe Mangazi.
On that note, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time right here on Times Television. Until next week, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.